Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to day 61 of Qur'an in a year plus, where we learn to look at the world and live life according to the lens of the Qur'an. Today we're going to be looking at verses 80 to 90 of Surah An-Nisā. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. من يطع الرسول فقد أطاع الله ومن تولى فما أرسلناك عليهم حفيظا. Whoever obeys the messenger by following what he commands and avoiding what he forbids has indeed responded to Allah's command. But whoever turns away from obeying you, O Prophet, do not grieve over them, for we have not sent you as a keeper over them to monitor their deeds. Rather, we are the ones who record their actions and will hold them accountable. وَيَقُولُونَ طَاعَةٌ فَإِذَا بَرَزُوا مِنْ عِنْدِكَ بَيَّتَ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْهُمْ غَيْرَ الَّذِي تَقُولُ وَاللَّهُ يَكْتُبُ مَا يُبَيِّتُونَ فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. The hypocrites say to you with their tongues, "We obey your command and comply." But when they leave your presence, a group of them secretly plot the opposite of what they declare to you. Allah knows what they scheme, and He will reward them for their deceit. So do not concern yourself with them, they cannot harm you in the least. Put your trust in Allah and rely upon Him, for Allah is sufficient as a trustee. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Why do they not reflect upon the Qur'an and study it carefully so that it becomes clear to them that there is no contradiction or inconsistency within it? And so they realize the truth of what you have brought. For if it had been from anyone other than Allah, they would have surely found in it much contradiction and discrepancy. وَإِذَا جَاءَهُمْ أَمْرٌ مِّنَ الْأَمْنِ أَوِ الْخَوْفِ أَذَاعُوا بِهِ وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى أُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ لَاتَّبَعْتُمُ الشَّيْطَانَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. When these hypocrites hear any news concerning the security or fear of the Muslims, whether it brings them joy or distress, they spread it publicly. But if they had waited and referred the matter to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to those endowed with sound judgment, knowledge, and sincere counsel, those capable of discerning and drawing conclusions would have known what should be done regarding its disclosure or concealment. Were it not for Allah's grace and mercy upon you, O believers, protecting you from what afflicted the hypocrites, you would have followed Shaitan's whispers, except for a few among you. فَقَاتِلْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَا تُكَلَّفُ إِلَّا نَفْسَكَ وَحَرِّضِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَسَى اللَّهُ أَن يَكُفَّ بَأْسَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَاللَّهُ أَشَدُّ بَأْسًا وَأَشَدُّ تَنْكِيلًا. Fight, O Messenger, in the way of Allah to make His word supreme. You will not be questioned about or held accountable for others. You are only responsible for prompting yourself to fight. Urge the believers toward fighting and incite them to it. Perhaps Allah by your fighting will repel the strength of the disbelievers, and Allah is most strong, most severe in punishment. من يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكن له نصيب منها ومن يشفع شفاعة سيئة يكن له كفل منها وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقِيتًا. Whoever strives to bring good to others will have a share of the reward, and whoever strives to bring harm to others will have a share of the sin. And Allah is witness to all that a person does and will reward him for it. So whoever among you is the cause of some good, he will have a portion of his reward, and whoever is the cause of some evil, it will reach him. وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَسِيبًا. When someone greets you with a greeting of peace, respond to them with something better than it, or at least return it equally. To return with the best is better. Indeed, Allah is ever watchful over what you do, and He will reward each according to his deeds. الله لا إله إلا هو ليجمعنكم إلى يوم القيامة لا ريب فيه ومن أصدق من الله حديثا. Allah, there is nothing rightfully worshipped except Him. Indeed, He will gather together on the day of judgment the first and last of you, a day about which there is no doubt. This is to reward you for your actions. There is no one more truthful in speech than Allah. فَمَا لَكُمْ فِي الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِئَتَيْنِ وَاللَّهُ أَرْكَسَهُم بِمَا كَسَبُوا أَتُرِيدُونَ أَن تَهْدُوا مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ وَمَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَلَن تَجِدَ لَهُ سَبِيلًا. What is the matter with you, O believers, that you have become two parties disagreeing over how to deal with the hypocrites? One party saying to fight them because of their disbelief, and another saying to leave them alone because of their professed faith. You had no right to differ concerning them. Allah has returned them to disbelief and error because of their deeds. Do you wish to guide one whom Allah has not granted guidance to the truth? And whoever Allah leads astray, you will find no way for him to guidance. وَدُّوا لَوْ تَكْفُرُونَ كَمَا كَفَرُوا فَتَكُونُونَ سَوَاءً فَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا مِنْهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءَ حَتَّى يُهَاجِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَخُذُوهُمْ وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ وَجَدتُّمُوهُمْ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا مِنْهُمْ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. The hypocrites long that you might disbelieve as they disbelieved, so that you would be alike. Due to their animosity, do not take them as allies until they migrate in Allah's path from the lands of shirk to the land of Islam, as proof of their belief. If they turn away and persist upon their condition, seize and kill them wherever you find them. Do not take any allies from among them to support you with your affairs, nor anyone to assist you against your enemies. إلا الذين يصلون إلى قوم بينكم وبينهم ميثاق أو جاءوكم حصرت صدورهم أن يقاتلوكم أو يقاتلوا قومهم ولو شاء الله لسلطهم عليكم فلقاتلوكم فإن اعتزلوكم فلم يقاتلوكم وألقوا إليكم السلم فما جعل الله لكم عليهم سبيلا. Except those among them who reach a people with whom you have a firm covenant to refrain from fighting, or those who come to you with hearts constrained, who do not wish to fight you nor to fight their own people. And if Allah had willed, He could have made them prevail over you so that they would have fought you. So accept from Allah His safety or His favor, and do not wrong them by killing or taking them captive. If they withdraw from you and do not fight you, and submit to you seeking reconciliation while abandoning fighting you, then Allah has made no way for you to kill them or to take them captive. As we reflect over today's verses, the Qur'an warns the believer of the spiritual danger of hypocrisy. And it's not a distant historical problem, but as a disease that can quietly erode one's faith from within. Ibn Uthaymeen, he mentions regarding the verse, وَيَقُولُونَ طَاعَةً. They say that we obey. But when they are in private, they discuss matters not in line with what they had told you. He says this verse warns against hypocrisy and urges a believer to be sincere and transparent, to not show one face to people and another in private. Therefore, there is nothing more honorable than the person who is truthful, straightforward, and unashamed in standing for the truth, whose outward and inward states are the same. And Allah addresses the companion saying that what is the matter with you in regards to these hypocrites? That you are two groups when Allah has turned them back on their heels. Ibn Ashur, he mentions that Allah made their return to disbelief a reward for their corrupt beliefs and their lack of sincerity toward His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For deeds produce their own kind, righteous actions give rise to more righteousness, while evil deeds lead ultimately to greater sin and disobedience. And this is the nature of the soul. Righteousness breeds more righteousness, while sin breeds further sin. The more a person lies, cheats, or hides their disbelief, the further they drift from sincerity until truth no longer even crosses their mind. This is the natural outcome of the corruption that they cultivated within. And their problem wasn't a lack of evidence, but a lack of reflection. If they had truly pondered the Qur'an, they would have seen its perfect harmony and truth, and their faith would have been renewed. But because they refused to think deeply, their hypocrisy persisted and their hearts became sealed. And when Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, that won't they reflect over the Qur'an? Ibn Ashur mentions that the interrogative form here is meant as reproach and condemnation, denouncing their failure to reflect upon the Qur'an. It serves as both rebuke and astonishment at their persistent ignorance despite having every reason and opportunity to contemplate its meanings. Their neglect to ponder the Qur'an and its powerful evidences of faith is therefore deeply blameworthy. And Shaykh al-Sa'di, he mentions that among the benefits of reflecting upon the Book of Allah is that through it a person attains certainty and firm knowledge that it is truly the word of Allah. This is because he observes how the Qur'an confirms itself, with each part supporting and affirming the other. You find that the rulings, stories, and reports are mentioned in different places, yet they are all in perfect harmony and agreement, never contradictory. Through this, one realizes the perfection of the Qur'an and that it can only come from the one whose knowledge encompasses all things. And Imam al-Qurtubi, he mentions that this verse indicates the obligation of reflecting upon the Qur'an so that its meanings may be understood. And Ibn Juzay, he mentions in regards to this verse that do they not reflect over the Qur'an? If it had been from other than Allah, they would have found a lot of contradictions within it. He says, they would have found contradictions within it as occurs in human speech or variations in eloquence. But the Qur'an is free from all such flaws, which proves that it is the speech of Allah. And if a person encounters a doubt and thinks there is a contradiction in something from the Qur'an, he must suspect his own understanding, ask the people of knowledge, and review their writings until he realizes that there is no contradiction whatsoever. And Allah, He says, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا. Who is more truthful in speech than Allah? And Shaykh al-Sa'di, he mentions that this is a declaration that Allah's speech, His statements, and His reports are of the highest degree of truth, indeed the very peak of it. Therefore, anything said regarding beliefs, knowledge, or actions that contradicts what Allah has informed of is false. For it opposes the most certain and truthful of reports, thus it can never be true. And the Qur'an is not just a source of moral and spiritual guidance, but is also the anchor of certainty in a world of confusion. And it's through that reflection that the believer achieves unshakable faith. Reading the Qur'an without reflection is still beneficial, but it doesn't impact the heart. But through reflecting, connecting its meanings, and allowing its truths to reshape one's thoughts, that transforms the knowledge into certainty. And the one who reflects will see how the Qur'an cultivates ethical excellence, truthfulness, verification, noble conduct, and sees how the Qur'an encourages building a morally refined community, one that upholds truth, justice, and compassion even in moments of fear, conflict, or victory. From verifying information to returning greetings with kindness, the Qur'an calls believers to rise above reaction and embody divine character in every situation. And one of the principles is to verify before you speak, respond with goodness, and know that Allah is going to hold you accountable. Allah He condemns the hypocrites for spreading unverified news and warns believers not to imitate them. He says that when a matter comes to them of safety, of a fear, they spread it. And Ibn Ashur, he mentions that this statement is conveyed in the tone of rebuke towards the hypocrites, and also as criticism of those among the believers who accept and spread such rumors. And Shaykh al-Sa'di, he mentions in regards to this verse as well, that this phrase also establishes an important ethical principle. When a matter requires investigation or judgment, it should be entrusted to those qualified for it, those of knowledge and expertise, rather than undertaken by anyone else. Doing so is more likely to lead to correctness and protects from error. So it teaches us to avoid hastiness. Spreading unverified news can cause harm and discord, hence the command to refrain until certainty is attained. It also teaches us to refer to the experts. Matters of public concern, law, safety, medicine, so on and so forth, must be referred to those with the ability to derive sound judgment from knowledge. And it also teaches us that there's accountability. In speech, words have consequences, and a person is mindful of Allah before they engage in any activity. And Allah is the best of those who grant success. So as we walk away from today's episode, let us reflect over the fact that Allah, He says, لا يجمعنكم إلى يوم القيامة لا ريب فيه. That Allah for sure is going to gather all of us on the day of judgment, and that we are going to be standing in front of Him, and that we are going to be accountable. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقِيتًا. That Allah is muqit over all things, meaning fully capable and powerful over them. And when a person understands this, it necessarily follows that a person should be aware of disobeying Allah, for Allah is ever watchful over him and fully capable of seizing him. May Allah protect us from the disease of hypocrisy. May He make us amongst those who reflect upon the Qur'an and embody its profound message. And may He make us amongst those who prepare for the meeting with Him and those who earn His mercy on the Day of Judgment. I'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.